What we're going to do today is go over the basic parts of bear hunting, and many of the things that we're going to go over, you already know. It's just a matter of how do we apply them to bears. As an example, we all tell the difference between males and females when we look at people or when we look at dogs. The same principles that we use to differentiate between people and dogs we use for bears as well. It's the same thing with aging processes and rates of maturity. People mature in the same general way as what most other mammals do. As an example, some of these characteristics that we'll go over with bears, some of them are characteristics of old animals, some of them are characteristics of mature animals, and part of what we'll do is get past some of these, what I consider to be misperceptions that are generally applied. One of those would be the mixing of the characteristics of old and mature bears. We all know football players that are 22, 23-year-olds that are at their prime. They're pretty big and they're pretty fast and they're pretty agile and they run a lot. Well, bears are the same way. You can get, just because a big bear may very well be very agile and very active, the mere fact that it's slow and moving is not necessarily a sign that it's, the fact that a bear is moving fast and moving around quickly is not necessarily the sign that it's a big old bear. It could be a big young bear, just as we see with people. And a lot of these things we'll go over these as we go through these different parts, but it's important to keep that in mind. Same with when we differentiate between males and females. The same characteristics that we use for males with people, we use for males with bears. And at different stages in their life, they're comparable. Hunting is there's a whole series of things. It's like a big chain, and if any one of those links is not addressed, then the chances of success are reduced, and sometimes greatly reduced. The other thing about hunting, I think, that is a real challenge, from the standpoint of guiding and hunting just in general, is that when we compare hunting, when we look at our success in hunting, very often we look at the size of animals or whether we're just successful, period. If you compare hunting with, say, carpentry, I guarantee you that, especially in my case, if I went over to Home Depot and I bought the finest table saw and a stack of wood and went home and built a set of cabinets, there would be no question that that was my first set of cabinets. The quality of work. We measure skill by the quality of work that's produced. With hunting, it's not necessarily that way. It doesn't mean that it detracts from the experience. As an example, one time during all the time that I guided, we killed 2 28-inch bears in one day. Killed them within about 45 minutes to an hour of each other. The first bear on a skill level, in my opinion, was about an 8 or a 9 out of a possible 10. The bear was in the brush. We went in after the bear, and there's a whole series of things that went on. I believe in that case the skill level was very high. The next bear, if it was possible to have a skill level of 0, that's exactly what it took to get the next one. We were racing back to the lagoon so we could walk around the head of it before the tide came in, and all of a sudden there was a bear. We had not a clue that there was another bear within miles of us, let alone that one. The bear showed, when we saw it, was about 75 yards away. It was so big that there was no consideration. It was instantly obvious that that was a large animal. One hunter was moved, the other hunter shot, and the bear was dead. There was the skill level between the two, there was no comparison. It's the same thing when we're hunting anything. Not that there's anything wrong with luck, but when we're hunting, it's important, I think, to keep that in mind, especially after we shoot something. Especially if we're going to build any skill whatsoever. It's important to make a determination as to how much was luck, and there's certainly nothing wrong with luck, but it's important to keep that in mind. And the more we base our activities on skill, the greater our chances of success are going to be. So when you look at it, there's general wood stuff, the way we conduct ourselves, the equipment, bear habits, hunting methods, trophy judging, stalking, harvesting, and trophy care. And I will be going over all of these as we go through this process today.